Welcome into your Hog Hoops Report. Hayden Herrera joined by Kevin McPherson. Kevin, what a weekend it has been, not only in Northwest Arkansas, but major parts of the country, all this snow. So I got to ask you, how have the last couple days been with you and seeing all this snowfall?
Well, we're not used to it here in Arkansas. It happens. It usually happens at least once a year, something like this. So, I'm an old wily veteran. I've just not taking any chances, but thank God for big screens and the power staying on and being able to watch a lot of really good college basketball. I think Saturday might have been the best day of college basketball of the season, and certainly Arkansas was on a roller coaster ride, and it
Yeah.
was no comfortable blowout win. So there was excitement at Bud Walton Arena, snow covered as it was.
Yeah, an 85-81 win for the Razorbacks over the Tigers of LSU. And as we've seen so many times, we when we think we've seen like the signature game of his season, Darius Acuff once again, tops his career high, 31 points, 13 of 19 field goals, four threes. He really just Kevin, he took over in that second half. There was a period of time there where it was just like boom, 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 Acuff basket, Acuff basket. What was it like watching on the big screen?
Yeah, I mean he took the game over offensively, scoring at all three levels. Hand in his face, it didn't matter. He had, if you look at the last 9.5 minutes, if you were going to divide a game up into quarters, that's the fourth quarter. And again, Arkansas, this isn't a runaway kind of game where you're having your way and a guy's just putting up stats. Arkansas was in a fight for a win or a loss against a LSU team that was feisty and competitive. And Acuff is just scoring at will. And I mean, you look at the last 9.5 minutes, 16 points. He was getting it from everywhere. That's a 16-point fourth quarter. That's clutch basketball in a tight game. And, here's a guy that, in addition to the 31 points, 6 assists. That's basically his average on the season.
Mm-hmm.
Had a couple of block shots to lead Arkansas in that category as well, a couple of rebounds. Only two turnovers in 35 minutes. So, you'll take 31 points and a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio every day of the week. Arkansas, I thought, came out sluggish in this game. I thought LSU controlled tempo and pace in the first half. I thought in the second half, Darius Acuff basically said, "You can't guard me, and let me prove it to you." And he took the game over. Arkansas didn't win with defense. Arkansas just had better offense in the second half, 52 points after only scoring 33. And again, Acuff, 24 of his 31 points in that second half and 16 again in the last 9.5 minutes. That is a display of excellence on the offensive end that I have not seen from a freshman. As good as Scotty Thurman was in some big performances, and Moses Moody and Anthony Black and Lee Mayberry, so many of them over the years, I don't know that I've seen anything that comes really close to what Acuff did in that second half. That was, that was as top shelf as you can imagine for a freshman.
Yeah, it was quite the sight to see. You mentioned that first half coming out sluggish. I mean, yeah, really kind of the opposite of what we saw Tuesday night in the victory over Vanderbilt. I mean, what do you make of like the key component of that? It just seemed like they weren't getting blown out. But yeah, as you said, LSU was clearly the dominant side early on.
Yeah, well, when you were a kid and you looked out the window and you watched the news the night before the weather and they said it was going to be a snow day, and
Oh
you
yeah,
never know with those reports until you actually see it start to come. And so, but you were always ready to not go to school, right? You weren't really hustling to have things ready to go to school because you figured I'm going to get bailed out with the snow. That's what the Razorbacks looked like. Looked like they wanted the snow day off, and LSU's like, no, we're here. We're clocking in. And I thought it felt like that. I mean, I'm going to give LSU some credit, but it just seemed to me that Arkansas was uninterested. And you could see it in effort, lack of effort on just closing out defensive possessions. LSU hustling the ball, Arkansas flat footed. Okay, ball, come to me. I'm here. No, that's not how basketball works. And I felt like Arkansas, took a backslide again defensively. And a lot of it, again, was lack of focus and effort. You look at the free throw line, 38% for an entire game for a good free throw shooting team. I mean, Arkansas basically shot half the percentage it normally does from the free throw line. You could point to a lot of areas where Arkansas didn't get it done. Again, the defense, win or lose, has been a disappointment, except for Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And maybe most of the South Carolina game, when you look at league play, there were moments against Tennessee as well, but Arkansas at home had not given up 80 points or more in a league game until LSU. Um, you know, so it seems like we always have a lot negative to say. Arkansas went 2-0 last week. The Razorbacks are 20th in net, and they've outside of five quad one losses. Arkansas picking up a quad two win yesterday is perfect against quad 2, 3, and 4 opponents. You got to win the games you're supposed to. So despite all the problems yesterday, Arkansas found another gear offensively. Arkansas's offense was just better than LSU's in the second half because there wasn't really a lot of defense that played into this outcome. Yes, you got some stops here and there, but overall, Arkansas Matador defense, but the offense, it's an elite offense to begin with, top 5 nationally. When you look at Ken Palm's efficiency ratings, really good three-point shooting team, good in transition, all these different things. Arkansas started opening those doors. And again, it all started with Acuff.
It did. And when you look at, the starting rotation, for example, a guy like Trevin Brazil, 7-7, stats that aren't gonna blow you away. 1 assist, 3 steals, but he did have that big shot late in the game that really kind of, it really was a difference maker. That 3, and afterwards, after the game, Trevin was asked if that pass, was he anticipating that? Was it good? Did he think Acuff was going to keep it? And Acuff was like, I trust him, he trusts me, and that play turned out to be pivotal. But just going off of that rate, did anybody in the starting rotation? Do you have any thoughts on anybody else, whether it be Brazil or maybe a performance from Malik Thomas, 14 points?
Yeah, I think there's several. I like it that you bring up Brazil. It was a big shot. Arkansas was up by 2 points. He extended to a 5-point lead, a 2-possession lead with under 50 seconds to go. That was a big shot. And we've seen him make big plays at the end of games, whether he's scoring a lot of points and getting in double digits on the scoreboard or not. This is another one of those games you look at. He's 7 points, but the 7 rebounds led Arkansas. The 3 steals led Arkansas. And his impact goes beyond just his stats. You look at the midweek game against Vanderbilt. He only scored 10 points. He officially, technically hit double digits. But the season high, 14 rebounds. He had 5 assists. A season high matching 4 steals in that game, 2 blocks. So if you look at his week, it's not about the points. It's about all the other stuff. And that big shot, Calipari called it a dagger in the postgame. Don't sleep on the season Trevin Brazil's had. People say, well, he's a little inconsistent. He may not hit double-digit scoring in every game, and he may have had a couple of stinkers in terms of total games here and there. But overall, he's been really, really good playing at an all-league level because we know Acuff is destined for all-league. He's going to get crowned more than in one way in the postseason honors. Trevin Brazil, to this point, has earned that as well. And then you mentioned other performers. I look at Malik Thomas, 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, another special offensive player, 14 points. But what I noticed is he didn't force bad shots, and the statistics bear that out. He was very efficient. 66.7% overall and from 3. He had 3 assists and a couple of rebounds. He did some things to help Arkansas in that game. Look at Billy Richmond III, who we talk about so often, pitching in his 11 points. And he's always doing other things statistically that help Arkansas. And then I'm looking at some other, contributions from guys. I thought DJ Wagner's minutes were solid again. He had 7 points in the first half, hit a couple of threes when Arkansas was really sluggish offensively everywhere. And he had some big shots to keep Arkansas within touch. And Carter Knox didn't blow anybody away with his point totals yesterday, 5 points, but 5 rebounds. That's about his average. He's second on the team in rebounding, and did some other good things, I thought, defensively. A game-high box score +8 for Carter in his 24 minutes. So, there's plenty of players on Arkansas's team that you can salute in this game who didn't go out and have a career-high night necessarily.
Do you anticipate at this point, it kind of feels like John Calipari isn't going to mess. He put DJ Wagner on the bench for a reason. Do you see it continuing this week? Do you anticipate any kind of change?
Why not? I mean, Arkansas went 2-0 with that formula this week. Now, both of those games were at home, but the DJ plays his best basketball on the ball. And coming off the bench, the way that Calipari works that 1 and 2 guard rotation with Acuff and Malik Thomas, it doesn't matter right now necessarily how many minutes DJ's playing. It's that they're maximizing the quality of what he brings to the table as an on-ball primary ball handler and initiating your offense in his role, the way that he's staggering that rotation and bringing him off the bench. So as long as it's working, why go back to the other? Not to say that it won't happen, but for now, I think it's working, and it's about the quality time and not the total minutes. And so we're seeing DJ Wagner effectively. He was one of the leaders in minutes per game last year, led Arkansas, but one of the leaders in the SEC. And we're seeing a diminished minutes allocation for him as his junior seasons progressed. A lot of that speaks to the quality and the production of certainly Acuff and even Malik Thomas as your two leading scorers. But that doesn't mean that DJ Wagner's role is not important. And I think it's been enhanced. Again, even if the minutes are going down a little bit, he's not in that starting five.
Absolutely. All right, plenty more to talk to with Kevin McPherson on this snowy Sunday. You're watching the Hog Hoops Report. We'll be back in just a little bit. Welcome back to the Hog Hoops Report. Hayden Herrera alongside Kevin McPherson. A lot more to talk about, but Kevin, you were not at Bud Walton Arena. You were watching it Saturday's game from the comfort of your home. Wondering what you thought of the atmosphere. I was curious to see how many fans would pack into Bud. I was just still on Saturday morning wondering if they were gonna cancel it or postpone or do something. But the game played on, and the fans showed up in droves. Coach Cal talked about it in the postgame, very appreciative of the season ticket holders that weren't able to make it, that gave up their tickets for that day. Students got them, first responders got them, lots of folks that maybe weren't, seeing an Arkansas game from that particular seat. They got to see it from there, and it really seemed like just a great atmosphere, and you wouldn't have known that Fayetteville was buried in snow based on watching it. Just wondering what you thought of Saturday's atmosphere.
I think it's a testament to the effort. For Calipari, getting on social media, what was it, a day or two before, saying, get these tickets. If you're not going to use them, make them available to the students and folks who can get here. And so, credit to the fans for making that, maybe not over, spilling over, but given the circumstances, given the inclement weather, that's a near 20,000 seat venue, and you had most of it filled up, and it didn't seem any different hearing the crowd noise through the television broadcast and some of the camera angles that we saw. It didn't seem different than a normal, when you have normal weather. And that's a testament to Hog fans. It's a testament to Calipari and his efforts. And just the program itself, it shows the strength of the program. And anytime you're playing an SEC game, this is not like November and December and some of those bye games. Even some of the weaker SEC teams, the competition is so strong that it takes a lot to keep Hog fans away. And so apparently a lot of snow wasn't enough to do it. And kudos to the fans for making that happen and helping Arkansas. That place was wild in the second half. I mean, you could hear it coming through the television. Arkansas finally started playing a worthy brand to wake the fans up. Everybody was, sort of lethargic in terms of the way that Arkansas was playing. But the fans in the house got treated to not only a win, but an exciting finish to that game, second half, and a game that went to the wire. As long as you win, you're okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not snowing last Tuesday whenever Arkansas got that win over Vanderbilt, a ranked matchup. I was not there for that one. I was there for Saturday's game against LSU, was not there for Vanderbilt. And when I turned on the game a little bit late, and already Arkansas was up double digits within moments. What did you make of that game, especially that start for the Razorbacks over the Commodores?
Yeah, I think it was Arkansas's best game of the season against a quality opponent. You led by as many as 31. You led from horn to horn, and you really I thought Arkansas imposed its will physically in the paint at both ends, offense, defense. You look at it statistically, it tells the story. Sometimes stats lie. Not in that game. And this is a Vanderbilt team that won its first 16 games, was 4-1 on the road coming into that game in true road games, and a team that, had taken a couple of losses on the chin, a tough, 4-point loss at home to a Florida team that was surging, a road loss to Texas prior to that. And Vanderbilt gets right on Saturday with a 30-plus point road win in the SEC. So Arkansas beat a really good team, didn't just beat it, but beat it down. And so I thought that was Arkansas's best game of the season. And I thought Arkansas might try to have some defensive carryover. I mean, you held Vanderbilt, a top 5 offense nationally, to 68 points. We can talk about keeping the percentages shooting in the 30s and other things that were great, but you held this team to 68 points. Arkansas had not held an opponent anywhere, home, road, neutral, to under 70 points. You had to go back to an 82-58 win over Fresno State in North Little Rock on December 6th. It'd been that long since Arkansas had done that much defensively. And to me, that's the biggest question mark of this team is when is it going to get better defensively? And so for that one night in that one game, you hope it's not an outlier. You hope they would carry it over against LSU. That didn't happen. Arkansas wasn't good defensively Saturday. But against quality on a Tuesday night at Bud Walton Arena, Arkansas was doing everything right for its best game of the season. I thought it was very impressive the way the Razorbacks handled business, and looked like it gave you a glimpse of if this team can get things shored up defensively, it would have a chance to be in a serious conversation as a final weekend, Final Four kind of a group. The problem is you got to have more of that, and Arkansas hasn't had enough of it. Even with some really good wins this season, we know it's been a tough schedule, and Arkansas has won some big games. And Arkansas is winning the games it's supposed to. We'll throw that in there as well. But Tuesday night gives you hope moving ahead.
No, absolutely. A game to remember for a lot of reasons. Yeah, and the fans were loving it there too. All right, let's look ahead to this week. An interesting week. Arkansas goes on the road to Norman, a place they haven't been in a while. Arkansas and Oklahoma faced on neutral sites a lot lately, but Hogs will be in Norman Tuesday nights before coming back to Bud Walton Saturday for a matchup that really everyone's had on their calendar since the schedule came out. Kentucky coming to Bud Walton Arena, the second time John Calipari facing his old team. So I'll let you start with the Oklahoma one, and then just your thoughts on this upcoming weekend, going on the road, and then the matchup against the Wildcats on Saturday.
Yeah, Oklahoma, LSU, a one-win league team, but have been close in several games. Oklahoma similarly has had its chances. Looked like it was going to knock off Missouri on the road Saturday. Yeah. Missouri hits a buzzer beater to send the game to overtime, then trailing by one, hits another buzzer-beating 3 to win the game on its home court, and Oklahoma comes out with a loss. Arkansas has followed up, oddly enough, multiple times this season where their next opponent just lost a heartbreaker, and they're mad and they're angry, and they're getting Arkansas on their home court. So that's what Arkansas is facing. It happened twice against Auburn and Georgia, and in both instances, Arkansas got taken behind the woodshed on the road. Oklahoma's not as good as those teams, but Oklahoma's dangerous, and Porter Moser's a good coach. I mean, you look at a guy like Nigel Pack that's been around basketball forever. He's put up buckets against Arkansas at multiple stops. Miami last year. Before that, a few years ago, Kansas State. He's been around forever. This is the SEC, man. It's the road on the SEC. There's no easy place to win. So Arkansas is going to have its work cut out for it, especially given that so far the defense has not traveled in this league. Arkansas has given up 90.5 points per game on the road in SEC play. So we can have some feel-goods about going 2-0 at Bud Walton Arena this past week. But now Arkansas's got to see if it can turn a corner defensively on the road, and then a team that's upset, angry, and felt like it should be coming off a win, looking to get revenge, and taking it out on the Hogs. It's, again, happened a couple of times already. Let's see if Arkansas can navigate that. And then you get Kentucky. I don't care where that game's played. I don't care what you think about the quality of the teams. It's just different. It's just a different setting because of the history, because of Calipari and all the time he spent there. And let's not ignore the fact that with Kentucky's struggles with injuries and losing some games this season, 5 straight wins. They're tied. Arkansas and Kentucky are both 5-2, tied for second place with Florida, one game behind Texas A&M. So everything, every week matters, every game matters in the SEC. It's going to be another challenging week for Arkansas. The only thing I'll say is Bud Walton Arena, I hope there's not another snow day. I got to be in the house for Arkansas, Kentucky on Saturday, man. That's as big as it gets in the SEC this season in terms of a matchup.
Well, the good news is, yeah, on the forecast, there is no snow for this Saturday. The bad news is it's just going to be cold. So bundle up as long as you can deal with maybe single degree temperatures, for not only Saturday, but the rest of this week is what it's looking like. But it'll be all fired up inside Bud Walton Arena. Can't wait for that one. Can't wait for this week. As you mentioned, yeah, just a really weird 3 opponents that Arkansas, coming off a buzzer beating loss. So we'll see if Arkansas can change things up with that bad luck, I guess, of schedule wise. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if Arkansas. Yeah, you just never know. Those other situations, Arkansas got hit with a sledgehammer each time, and then so you can't rule that out as something that could play out again. But we'll see if Arkansas's learned anything about how to start out on the road, and that defensive intensity, man, that effort and that being locked in, and I just haven't seen it enough from this team consistently, and especially on the road in league play. So that's what we're looking for. We're ready to see, is Arkansas serious? Is this a serious Final Four contender come the end of the season? And you start making that case this time of year as you get closer to the midway point in your league. Then you get into February and you're really starting to figure out what is your team's identity? Where can you really establish a resume beyond wins and losses in terms of what kind of problems you're going to bring to the table once you get to postseason, once it's win or go home. And so these are the games that Arkansas needs to start, trying to be more consistent and figure this stuff out. Again, against Vanderbilt, it looked really promising, but you got an offense that's elite. That's not the question. It's the defensive end. And so let's see what Arkansas does this week. I can tell you one thing. Kentucky, one of the reasons the Wildcats have won 5 in a row with several of their key guys out with injuries is they're just taking care of the defensive end of the floor. And Arkansas, that was kind of the identity of Arkansas's team last year. Arkansas had attrition. They were figuring out as they went, but they were a top 15, top 20 defensive unit. So regardless of the other problems, they took care of that end of the floor more often than not. And that was a formula for finding ways to win. And so I think this Arkansas team, as good as it is offensively, they've got to get better better on the defensive end. They got to establish some kind of toughness identity, however they can do that on that end of the court, because I think in the end, that's what's going to matter when postseason gets here.
The next time we talk to you, it'll be February, in the final month of really the final full month of the regular season, and then March will be here. The season is flying by, but it's been exciting, and another intriguing week awaits us with the Razorbacks. As always, Kevin, thank you so much for the time. This has been your Hog Hoops Report.